We were the first city in the nation to beat an injunction at that level. And the attorneys were really helpful in breaking down like the accusations that it was the Santa Barbara Police Department and the Santa Barbara District Attorney that were pushing the gang injunctions in Santa Barbara.
Can you talk about some of the things that the Santa Barbara Police and the Santa Barbara, city or district attorneys were trying to communicate or convey to the community to say, this is what we need to do, this is why this is important, this is why the gang injunction is good?
So they were saying that Santa Barbara gang problem was so serious that they needed this massive injunction.
A stabbing near Saks Fifth Avenue on State Street in 2007 led to Santa Barbara's proposed gang injunction 2 years later. For the first time since then, city council members agreed to hold a vote after hours of public comment.
We have some individuals that are continually choosing not to follow those rules. I appreciate the fact that Councilman Murillo and Greg Hart have brought this out of the darkness of the closed-door session and into the public forum for public debate, because that's important. But it doesn't diminish the need of having some type of solution to deal with the people who are not changing their behaviors.
To be able to control like the everyday activities of like these like most violent, worst of the worst gang members. And that it was connected to the Mexican mafia in the prisons. And that they were now organizing these youngsters and telling them what to do, and they were, playing it out in the community, which is very different from what was actually happening in the community.
The number of gang crimes and male juveniles on probation have both dropped drastically since, making some question the need.
Compared to other cities around the state and around the country that have sought gang injunctions, and I've been in most of those cities, we don't have anywhere near the gang problem.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? No.
The Santa Barbara City Council voted 5-2 to fight for the right to have a gang injunction in civil court.
And so then one of our strategies that we used was, if it's that serious, the gang crime here, then you should probably let tourists know because they should be cautious. So why don't we help you? So we started sending out like travel advisories to the different travel agencies to inform the tourists to be careful because this is a gang-infested area. And then we started like posting them everywhere where tourists were. And then we had banners when the ships would dock that we had was like, beware, this is a gang injunction zone. So they really were upset about that. And so then they backtracked and were like, no, it's not that violent.
They're not breaking down what was actually done by gang members, what was done by juveniles, what was done by adults. And it basically makes the area look a lot worse than it really is.
And so there was like a reaction, and then they were being pressured then to like stop pushing this like this vision, that you keep mentioning.
The Santa Barbara City Council took one more step toward implementing a gang injunction. Council members listened to hours of public comment tonight, but in the end, they voted to let the issue play out in court.
We also started reaching out to like the political parties, because it's really important that people who are fighting the injunctions, you want to get support from the politicians, but you don't need their support to fight it. Most politicians are going to run for office based on like anti-crime, pro-criminal justice platforms. And so they don't define your strategy, they don't define your campaign. If you can get them to support, even better. But you don't need them to support. And so what we had in Santa Barbara was that the Democratic Party, which is like the dominant party in Santa Barbara, they were in support of it. Some of them were behind the pushing of the injunction. So we came to them and challenged them. If this is your vision and your mission, then a gang injunction contradicts that. And it contradicts what you're saying about Santa Barbara. So they took a position to oppose it. And then we reached out to the Republican Party, and the Republican Party also took a position to oppose it because it infringed upon people's civil rights. And so it really was rattling just the political platform in Santa Barbara, because we were like, we are all in and we're gonna use whatever strategy that we can. There's no loyalties to a political party.
It criminalizes non-criminal behavior.
So standing in the corner, going into a store where they sell alcohol, hanging out with a cousin, a friend, a brother who may be suspected as a gang member, that is criminal behavior in the Gang Injunction. And with that, so it became a bigger discussion. It was like all over the media in Santa Barbara. Then the Realtors Association reached out to us. We had a meeting with them where they were saying, like, if a home is in a gang injunction zone, the seller has to inform the buyer, because you legally have to inform them, and it can affect the value of the home.
Yeah, full disclosure. Now, during all these fights and battles, did the Santa Barbara City Attorney, District Attorney, and the Santa Barbara Police reference Los Angeles to say, look, this is what's working in LA, this is what they've been doing, and they have dozens of these injunctions, and as a reason or a way to justify it for Santa Barbara? How often does LA come up in these?
You know, it came up a bit, not as much as Fresno did. So somebody from the Santa Barbara Police Department had a connection to this Fresno District Attorney assistant, and then the police over there. So they were really working in collaboration, which they brought into the court, to the trial, as their gang expert.
You're so used to Santa Barbara being the beautiful place to go, and when you have criminal activities like the murder that happened on State Street that started all this, it really jolts you in your system.
And so he was talking about how great gang injunctions were, but when they asked him, like, have gang injunctions reduced crime in your area? Like, no. So they haven't been that effective. I guess not. So they were relying on, like, these people's perception, where they hadn't even been successful with their own injunctions, and felt like, you know, if we bring them in, we're going to be able to show that this is actually happening.
Usually judges are going to favor the side that's pro, anti-crime, pro-police. So did you have issues with the judge in this case?
So we had a trial for over 2 months. It was a pretty lengthy trial, and we were there every day. And we weren't sure what to make of the judge. We had heard about her being fair, and we had to trust that. And we had to trust that our attorneys and our work was going to speak for itself, because we had created our own crime data, our own public education platform.
Members of the group Poder see the injunction as a way for police to do what they've been doing for years.
You do have a say in what happens in your community. You do have a say of what happens to your children.
Ultimately, 4 safety zones have emerged east and west of State Street, the waterfront, and Mackenzie Park.
It became really popular in Santa Barbara, where it was constantly covered, and the trial was covered daily. So it became historic part of Santa Barbara. So I knew that she was going to see it from the criminal justice angle of it, but also the public angle of it, and then help everyone was watching this trial.
Is this a jury trial, or this is just a judge trial, right? Because this is in civil court, not criminal court.
Right, civil court.
So it's in civil court. So how long does it take for the judge to deliberate on this case?
It took her about 2 months.
What?
2 months.
2 months?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So we were so anxious, and we knew that it was a win for us because of everything that had played out through the process and then during the trial.
Thanks for watching StreetTV.net. If you're not subscribed, please hit that button below and click the bell to receive alerts and notifications. Feel free to comment below so you can give us your feedback, and be sure to watch the 2 related episodes to the right. If you want to support this platform or follow us on social media, visit the links in the description, and thanks for watching StreetTV.net.